welcome to the first official episode of Creators Dementia. This was originally called the Quill Talk, but I got to thinking, yes, I will be doing a lot of author-related content when it comes to like the mistakes we make, the processes that we do, processes that we go through. The many different things that an author literally has to do in order to be the best that they can be, and also make note of the challenges that they got to face. But I also got to thinking that this podcast will actually not only be about author related things, but just creating, all things created, I should say. It could go from filmmaking to little TikTok videos like I do, cosplays, things like that. I want to kind of broaden the spectrum here and get into just about all of it. Also I'll do book reviews and things like that. But so I am changing the name from Quill Talk to Creators Dementia, because we are all creators. It may not be the best things that are created in this world, but we do create. And it could just be like a little haiku of a poem, things like that. But if it's your original idea, so you are the creator of that idea. So I wanted to kind of just branch out my channel here and kind of just go through many different things that people create and go through and things like that. And like I said, thank you for actually listening to this. I started trying to put together the original idea a little over a month ago. I think 2 months maybe. And the first episode, it went pretty good. But then when I recorded the second episode, which I have recorded 3 times, I kept running into instrument and mechanical issues. So I got a different setup now. I got me a new mic, condenser. I've got a program where I'm recording my audio, and I'm going to use the camera. Hopefully the visual aspect won't go out of lag like it would with the webcam and the other microphone I had just using through the computer. This is a whole new different way I'm going to try this, and we'll see how this goes. But yeah, thank you for actually wanting to listen. Sorry, I'm burping. I just say it that way, and I'm also going to enjoy my little coffee here. But if I cannot get the video to actually be decent, then I guess I'll just go with audio, and hopefully figure out some way to keep the visual aspect entertaining. Maybe put up a picture or something within the video, and just have that picture just stay with the audio the entire time. But how about we just hop on into it? On the first official episode, so this is technically episode 2, but we are going to say episode 1. So from here on out, episode 1 is right now of Creators Delusion. I switched back and forth through titles so much I completely almost forgot what it was. But yes, Creators Delusion. Okay. No, it's Creators Dementia. I need to write this down. This is ridiculous. My memory is My memory is crazy. And this microphone, it picks up, so you'll probably hear my pen click. Yep. It picks up a lot. I had to turn off my ceiling fan. My air conditioner's got to stay off. I've got my phone on vibrate. This microphone I have here is a newer NW800. It is a low budget mic, but it still sounds amazing. And of course, I don't have like a close quarters to where I can sound protect myself and where it won't pick up anything else. So I literally have to shut stuff off. And so you will hear a lot of things. Hopefully in the near future I can figure out a different setup to where it's all focused and won't be so splattered everywhere when it comes to sound. But I'm gonna write this title so I don't forget it again. Creators Dementia. That's what it is. Dementia. Okay. There. I wrote it down. Okay. So let's kick it off. Pin click. let's kick this off with me. I'm going to explain my time while writing my second book, Zed's Wayward Son, versus my first book, Zed's Rising. And I just want to give people, the exact rundown on what it took to basically push myself to get book two done. Because with book one, it was a completely different process. It did take longer to get it done, but I didn't give it as much focus as I did Zed's Wayward Son. Zed's Rising, like I said, it was a process of like 7 years, but I can't really call it a process. It was more like I wrote down in a notebook. Took me maybe a couple weeks. No, I'll say a month, maybe two, and then it took a little while to type it up. And then once it was completely typed, I made the mistake of sending it on through, and of course it didn't get edited and things like that, which was a big mistake. But that's on my part. But as I said, I'll explain everything. So, Zed's Wayward Son. I started it immediately after Zed's Rising was published. Now, if you know me, and you've read Zed's Rising, it was my very first book, so of course there was a lot of mistakes in it. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of things that I've done wrong. It's a very thin book. It was a lot bigger on notebook paper, but yeah, Zed's Rising. It was my first baby. It was, but then I got done. I sent it through. Like I said, I should have took more time with it. I should have been more responsible. But Zed's Wayward Son, like I said, I started it right after Zed's Rising was published. I sent it to the publishing company, and I immediately started on book two. And at first, it was called The Followers, The Lost Notebook of Atlas. That is a very lengthy title, and it does make sense if you read the book on why I would call it that, but I changed it because I wanted to keep the name Zed's within the titles, and of course it's going to be a trilogy. So, and Zed's Wayward Son was mostly focused on Atlas and his journey rather than the Zed's complete journey that they started with. So, Zed's Wayward Son was a better fitting title because, certain things happen inside the book where it sends Atlas through an entire turmoil type deal where he had to face things on his own, and he had to figure himself out. So Zed's Wayward Son started exactly after Zed's Rising. It is not it does not begin where Zed's Rising stops. It is a kind of like a frame tale. I've heard people. I've researched that. That's what you would actually call a book like this. But it explains the battle that is told inside Zed's Rising. If I would have planned it more, book one probably wouldn't have ended the way it did. I probably would have ended it to where book two would pick up from book one at this battle. But like I said, first time author, I rushed through the book and things like that. It was I should have paid more attention. But yeah, that's how Zed's Wayward Son started. I wanted to tell the actual battle that Atlas writes down in very limited detail inside the first book. But another thing I want to talk about is when I actually let book two go. And I don't mean as in when I sent it and published it. I mean when I just stopped working on it. Authors go through many different emotional things when it comes to writing, and our surroundings can kind of get the best of us. With me, when I gave up book two for the longest time, I don't know, the thought of how book one kind of happened with all the mistakes I made and the lack of detail that I didn't put into it. I mean, don't get me wrong. People said they liked it. They loved the story of it. I mean, it is a good story, but it just wasn't well written on my part, and that is my fault. And once I realized that, you know, and it didn't get bad reviews either. That's not it at all. It had one review that wasn't that great, but all they talked about was pricing more than anything. And I didn't set the price of the book when the company did. But once I realized all the mistakes I made and the things I should have done better, it kind of hit me hard, and I just completely quit writing. I just thought to myself that I would never be good enough. My books would never sell. This is just a pipe dream, and there is no point in even attempting to go further in my writing career. But I come to realize, with the help of my fiance, that writing is my passion. It's not my job. I have a daytime job. Of course, it spans throughout the entire day. It's night, day, whatever job. But writing is a passion. It is a hobby, of course, in my life. But it's a passion. That's the thing I got always tried to remember. I always kept telling myself, this is a passion. This is something I love to do. And a number of elements within an author's life can completely stop an author's passion, whether it be emotional turmoil or stress or just the aspect of everyday living. It can completely kill an author's motivation to continue on with his journey. It's not easy to do something that you love when all you do is focus on what you need to do in your life. That sounds kind of weird, I know, but stresses of a job or stresses with money, if that's all you focus on, then what you are completely in love with and passionate about, you kind of lose interest because you're so focused on what the world needs rather than what you need. And there for a while, like I let Zed's Wayward Son go. And my fiance, she's not an avid reader, but she got my first book. She actually bought it, and she read it, and then she just kept on like, when you gonna finish book two? Are you writing book two yet? And I'd let her know, yeah, it's in the process. I've just not worked on it in a while, and I mean, she pushed me. She pushed me to get it done, and I literally went through, and I would sit down for hours, and I would just write. And it's weird, I can push myself to do things without, throughout my life, but when you get the support and the motivation of a loved one or an actual fan, it literally helps get that author going. I mean, it always helped me going. I don't want it to sound egotistical or anything like that, such as, somebody says that they love my book, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's right. I'm good. That means maybe I should keep writing. That's not the case here. It's more of, so you enjoyed it. Well, maybe there is something there, and maybe I should just keep going so that way you can enjoy reading more. It's not the fact that you believe that I'm good at writing. It's the fact that you enjoyed my writing. And so after my fiance pushing me and a bunch of people saying, kept asking, when's book two coming out? Can't wait to read book two. It got me back in my proper mindset to finish. And it was, and the book took off pretty good. Like, I'm not going to make no bestsellers list or New York Times bestseller, anything like that. I live in a small town, and I have a very limited fan base, and I'm actually okay with that, because the ones that do read it, they like it, and it helps. It helps me, keep wanting to write, and I also want my kids to be proud of me doing something when they get older, as long as the uh, the rest of the books have less mistakes than book one. I'll say it that way because I love book one. I do. Zed's Rising is amazing to me, but I know what I did wrong. So, and I am happily admitting what I did wrong. But it is my baby, and it did break my heart when I noticed a bunch of the mistakes that I did make. But it broke a lot of other people's hearts because of the story, not the mistakes, and that helps keep keep me going, keep me wanting to write. But yeah, like I said, I let book two go for the longest time. Then I finally picked it back up, and it took and altogether it was 4 years, and book two finally got done. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the actual struggles I faced when I didn't feel like writing. I know I touched base with it a little while ago, but there are some very, very emotionally draining struggles when it comes to being a creator. Not only an author, but being a creator. The one thing I always face, and it's not, laziness, even though sometimes I am lazy and I should just get my butt in gear and do it, but it's not the laziness, it's not the procrastination, it's the emotional toll it takes to complete a book. And the number one killer of an author's ability is the inner demon inside their head. The one that keeps saying you're not good enough, no one cares, your book sucks. I've met many authors that go through that, and I am a poster child for this. This type of struggle, it may not seem like much, but it is one that can take an author down. It can cause writer's block. And people, they'll say, if you just write every day, or write once a day, write every week, you can push through that writer's block. But the thing is, when it comes to your emotional being and your emotional health, all that mental status that you got to deal with, it doesn't matter how many times you write or try to write. You got to push through that one brick wall that is keeping you just got to push through that wall, because that demon inside an author's head is going to keep coming at them hardcore and not stop. So the thing with being a creator of anything is facing that demon, and 9 times out of 10 we can't do it alone. That's why we rely on such things like reviews, book reviews, comments, things like that. I have comments with my YouTube channel, and there's no bad ones, none at all, and I like that. And them comments are like, people's like, hey, I'm glad you're back. Some people have actually sent me messages with the episode I did, like I said, a month or two so ago. I'm gonna try to jumpstart this again. Just tell me that they were glad I was back and things like that, and I was like, well, that makes me want to keep trying to do this. And then all of a sudden, equipment issues. Like I said, that little equipment issue, which was easily fixable. It did take some money, it did take a little time, but it's fixable. But that little struggle that can just get planted like a seed in your mind, it can stop a creator in their tracks, because they're like, well, what's the point? I can't do nothing right. I suck at this. No one's even going to care if I even attempt this. No one's going to buy my book. No one's going to watch my short film. No one's going to really care if I put so much effort into my cosplay. It is just the little voice inside a creator's head that will stop them in their tracks. And it is a killer. I've seen many people quit. I know people that were great musicians, great athletes. They just stopped because they felt like they was not good enough. And no matter how many words of encouragement that some people would provide for them, they just could not get that demon out of their head. And it is horrible. It sucks. Only, the lucky ones can push that to the side and also, embrace that little demon. Like, well, if you, it's going to sound a little crazy, but if you think that I can't be good enough, well, I'm going to show you that I can be great enough. Those little things I have to tell myself when it comes to writing, because there'll be certain little parts in my book that I'm just not fond of, and I'm like, well, this is horrible. I wonder if the rest of the book sounds like this, and it will just, it will kill the muse inside somebody. So, the little words of encouragement that can come from a fan or a passerby or just someone who just so happened to come across, a short film, a book, and read like maybe a little clip of it, and then it's like, hey, this, sounds interesting. I may buy it later, and read the whole thing. Just even that little right there, it's like, oh, well, it reached somebody, and, they like it. Those little things can keep an author going as much as an author can keep themselves going. The struggle is, like, everybody says, the struggle is real. And it is truly real, especially in times like today, where everything's just a mess. But creators will provide a world in which others can escape in. Whether it be not the best written world or not the best visualized world, they are still providing a way for the public to forget the bad parts of reality and escape into the great parts of an imagination. So the struggles, like I said, the struggles I faced, they were basically all on my own. I'm not saying I faced them on my own. I'm saying I created them. And it is rough. But I eventually pulled myself out of it with the help and support of fans, my fiance, and people who share my passion. Those people are what keep creators going. They help me keep going. Alright, so now I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I was talking about struggles, how I started with my books and things like that. Now I'm going to tell you the actual differences between the ways I published and why I changed it. If you've seen my two books or own them or whatever, there's a big difference with them. One's actually hella bigger. I was hoping it'd be like the size of a normal book, but apparently I made it pretty thick. But the publishing route I went through with Zed's Wayward Son Book 2 was I went through KDP. I went through them because there was one thing that the publishing company I went through first has allowed to happen that I don't like. Like the cover of Zed's Rising, I love the cover. It is fabulous. Everyone loves the cover besides the fact that it's glossy. Even, matte is better. It's not so shiny. And, it's well fitted. But with book one, and I'm not going to dog my first publishing company. I'm not going to dog them because, they got my first book out there. But they used a stock image, which is fine, I guess, for them. That's what they do. Bad thing is, once Zed's Rising hit the internet, there was a lot of people that used Zed's Rising's cover and altered it and made it their own, which is fine. Do not get me wrong. If anybody takes a picture and alters it just a little, to do something creative with it, that is amazing. But, it is my book's cover. I thought maybe that image would have been, specific, special. Maybe, only attached to Zed's Rising, but I saw a video game company take the image and stick a kid with a controller and a recliner inside that image and advertise gaming school. And I don't know, it hit me the wrong way. At first I was like, well, that's pretty cool. They're using my book's image, but then I was like, no, technically they're not, because to them, that's going to be their advertising image. no one's even gonna know where that image come from. So it literally has no purpose or any connection to me with the way that they used it. You know, that kind of hit me the wrong way. Nothing I can do about it if it's a stock image, though. I have no royalties, no copyrights to that image. I didn't create that image. The publishing company did. And also, but like I said, you know, people can use that image however they feel, however they want.
I can only set a single photo from Amazon Photos as your wallpaper.
That was weird. I think my tablet just talked to me. Sorry about that. But like I said, the images that they want to use, that is perfectly fine. That's cool. Like I said, I have no connections to it, I guess. But like I said, it still hurt me the wrong way. Now, also with the publishing company, they have a limit on how many copies you can order yourself. Yes, I can get on that, you know, author's cost, which helps, but they also have it to where you can only order 25 or more. Okay, you got to make money. I understand that. If someone just orders one book, you know, and you know the author has to pay for it at author's cost, the company's not going to make much money off of it because the author can sell it themselves, keep 100% of the profit. But when they look at you and say you have to order 25, that's the minimum, and you also got to pay for shipping, and we're also going to charge you $179. There's something a little wrong there. You know, the fact that I spent over $500 to get it published and didn't even get any editing, and then they say that yes, I can get my books at author's cost, but I gotta get at least 25, and I gotta pay them $179 to get those copies. That didn't sit well with me either. I mean, I did what I had to do. I would pay them the money, and you know, I sold the copies. And bad part was, where I was new to the game, I overpriced those copies because I was like, well, I need to make money off this. If I'm gonna spend $179 on these books, I'm going to have to, you know, charge $20 a book. Way overpriced. Yeah, that was another mistake I made. You know, if I would have charged $10, I still would have made, you know, money. But yeah, I was charging $20. Stupid me. I'll just say that right now. But $179 plus shipping, and can only order 25 or more. That's a little much. You know, I'm doing all my own advertising. I'm trying to push it, you know, to people that may want to read it. I'm the one that's taking care of everything on this end, and you know, with KDP now, KDP, you get free shipping. You do buy at author's cost, and there's no limit. KDP has more friendlier budget things, I should say. All the editing, of course, you know, you got to do that yourself if you're going with KDP, or you know, you hire editor to do it. But KDP, you can even use your own image, like the cover of Zed's Wayward Son. I actually took that picture of a friend and his wife and his daughter. They're actually the ones that's on the cover. But everything there I chose. Everything was me. I wish that I could have made the okay, so the camera died, so this is going to be pure audio. I do wish that I could have got the book to be better dimensioned, I should say, like friendlier dimensions. But I mean, that's just the way it worked. But I do recommend KDP. It is easy to use. Only bad part is the font choices are very limited. Like, I was hoping I could find the broken concrete like it is on my first book, but I couldn't. So the fonts, that's the one thing I don't like. It is very, very limited. But I could order one book, one of my second books at author's cost, and only pay that much. There's no shipping because it's free. I don't have to order 30 to 40 or 25 to get a copy. I can literally order 1, 2, or 5. It doesn't matter. And that's why I like about KDP. So that was the reason why I switched my way of publishing. And I probably will do KDP again with book 3 and also my 2 new books that I'm working on. I probably will stick with KDP unless I can find like a decent budgetary option to where an actual company can take care of the editing and the all that fun stuff. I don't know. Every other company that I tried to go through would charge from $600 to $6,000, and they're like, "Oh, we'll put your book on the shelf. You just pay us $6,000." It's like I could go to a family-owned bookstore and put my book on a shelf for free. Yeah, the advertising, there's not going to be much advertising. It's all going to be on me, but advertising doesn't guarantee you'll make money. It doesn't guarantee that someone's going to see that book and want to buy it. That's just how it is. So all the advertising, all that stuff is on me. And I do it for free. So we will talk about now. Y'all might want a break for me. If you have to, just hit that pause button if you need. Go grab something to drink. Go grab something to eat and just chill out for a minute. Go stretch your back if you need to. I'm fixing to take another sip of coffee because I like my coffee. Put a little honey in it. Oh, me. Alright, so now we're going to talk about the differences between, and this is, I've got 2 more little things I want to talk about with this, but number 5 is what we're on, and I want to talk about the difference between editing the first book and the second book, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but because there are big differences in what I did, but it's not something that I have to explain completely, or should have to explain, or feel the need to explain, because usually everyone that actually listens to this kind of stuff, they know the difference. So I'll just tell you what I did, and if you do want specifics, you're more than welcome to ask. I will do my best to answer. But the difference between editing the first book and second book. First book, I didn't do any. I'll just flat out say it like I did earlier when I started this. I didn't do any, and that is a big mistake. Always edit. Always review. Always look at your stuff. I was naive. First time author. I was ready to go. I made that big mistake. I needed to edit. So it's not that hard to see the differences between my editing of number 1 and number 2. So, but with number 2, I had beta readers. I've reread the book over and over again, maybe 4 times altogether. I did the read aloud function on Microsoft Word, so that way I could catch the little things that I could not see, but I could catch it if I heard it. I had this one great author. She took a look at the first 20 pages, and she gave me some very awesome and helpful tips. So there is a big difference with editing from number 1 and number 2, because number 1 I did not. Number 2 I did. I spent a lot of time editing. I took a lot of it took a lot of free time. And authors and other people, they will give you many different opinions on how many times you should edit or how many times you should go through it. Some people could say 5, some people could say 12, and there are others that will tell you maybe once. But of course, if you can do it in one shot, my hat's off to you. I would love to shake your hand, because I found out if you only do it one, if you don't do it at all, of course, but one time, you're still going to miss everything. That's why I done it 4. with help of other people. So me personally, I recommend going more than once, probably more than twice. But yeah, I did it 4 times. Like I did the read aloud, I read word for word, and through them edits, I added over 10,000 more words. And I added a lot more detail. I took out a bunch of stuff, but also I added more than I took out, and that helped the book extremely. So that's the difference between editing book 1 and book 2. Book 1 had none, book 2 had a bunch, and book 3 will have a buttload more. So the last thing I want to talk about, like I said, I'm trying to keep this under 45 minutes because this is basically the first podcast that I've done, and I don't know if people will relate to my voice as good as some. If you live up, in the northern section, some people say they love my nice little country accent here. Some people think I'm from Texas. So that's fine. But number 6, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the struggles of getting the word out. The struggles of advertising. If you have the ability to join a big company that will do all the advertising for you, then good luck. That is awesome. I'm proud. Way to go. Me, myself, and I do our own advertising. I do my own everything. Living in a small town of 5,000, maybe a little more people with nothing big around here, it's a little difficult. All my advertising is usually digital. It is through, of course, the big old social media platform of Facebook, also Instagram, and TikTok. I do TikTok. But it is very hard to advertise with no money. And with my current situations, I don't make a lot of money at my job. But I have spent money toward advertising. The struggles of free advertising is you don't know who, or I should say you don't know how many people will actually see your project. If you pay someone to advertise, they may have a certain group of people that they will share stuff to. Which brings me to a point where I just recently found out that I should have a mailing list. So I've actually started gathering emails of people that said that they would love to be in the list. That way I can give them updates and, news of different things that I'm working on. It makes sense. If you have an email list, then you have a certain group of people that are highly interested in what you do, and then they can spread the word. So kind of word of mouth deal. But yes, the email list is a must, and I'm still trying to figure it out because another good writing friend of mine said that you shouldn't use your actual email. You need to do a third party. That way it could be like an easier group thing. I'm not quite sure. I'm still trying to figure out all the details. But yeah. So advertising, getting the word out, it's rough. If you are basically low budget to free budget, you just have to rely on friends, family, and social media. And, you can't really... Right now, it's going to be kind of hard to go to a news station and try and advertise your stuff because you're not really allowed to go in places like that at the moment due to all this fun stuff happening. Radio stations, maybe. I did use the local one, and, it didn't really help much. Like I said, this is a small town. Unless I can go to New York and blast it on Times Square, I ain't got a snowball's chance in hell to become a well-known author here. But like I said at the beginning, I do have a loyal fan base, and I do have a lot of great people that support me. So, if I never make it big, I'm okay. Because, this is fun. It's kind of like doing this right here. There may be 2-3 people that hear this little podcast. And, them 2 or 3 people may enjoy it, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't look to be famous. I look to do what I love, and that's write, create, and be happy. So I will. This should be the end of it. We are 40 minutes in, and like I said, this is episode 1 of. I remember I had it wrote down of Creator's Dementia. So I am going to end this nice little thing here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully I'll do better next time. It has been a very long couple months. I'm exhausted, and me attempting this for the first time is, I like it. It's fun, especially since I have decent equipment to where hopefully this will actually be decent. I'm not an expert in this stuff, so let's, if you got any tips, let me know. But yeah, being an author, being a creator, none of this stuff is for the faint of heart. This stuff is for, the strong-willed, and the faithful to their art. It always helps to have a support system behind you, but, the best support system is literally the voice inside your own head. That little light that, broadcasts your talent and your passion to the world. You just need to stay focused and believe in yourself more than anything. If y'all have any questions of whoever listens to this, I am more than happy to answer. There is, comment boxes down, I guess, below this whole thing. And if you are looking for different things to watch or see or anything like that, I will leave my Instagram and my TikTok. It's still fun to say that I'm on TikTok. A bunch of people don't believe it, but that nice little platform, it's fun to do cosplay stuff in. I'm not gonna lie. And I turned my Instagram into a complete cosplay platform. So yeah, if you want to see all the stuff that I actually work on, you're more than welcome to. I will leave it down below. And I just want you all to please stay focused, stay strong, and stay happy, because this world, it's in some dark times. But this may sound cheesy, but you are the light that can, cast out that darkness. This world needs you just as much as it needs rain and water and earth. The earth needs us, and you are the ones that can keep it going. So I just want to say God bless, keep fighting, and I hope to hear from y'all soon. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of Creator's Delirium. I love you guys. Peace.